Yeah, hi everyone. This is the third project in the AI product management course of Duke University, which is human factors in AI. So I'm going to present a problem scenario in sanction screening program at an MNC bank, where the operations team spend too much time disposing the alerts. So alerts are basically suppose if a bank is conducting a transaction or something, a new customer is onboarded, and if this customers or transaction are with parties on sanction list, right? Like Osama bin Laden. They're supposed to report it, alerts are generated, and they're not supposed to conduct that business or transaction. So this problem is very repeated. False alerts are created as time screening happens, and ops team has to re-spend time for disposing the same kind of false alerts as well. And also a lot of new false alerts keeps popping up. So that is my problem statement. So the task analysis for this problem statement is the trigger. The trigger points as new alerts are created for a new customer onboarding or a transaction. The action required here is the alerts are displayed to the users in a system. So desktop GUI application. Decision, are the alerts true or false? So AI prediction is displayed here. This is what I'm planning for. If the decision is not clear, perform further investigation and research. That is what the ops team do. And we plan to reduce this time basically as an overall project, right? So AI will help reduce the research time here by providing more insights directly. Then what is the next action is the final decision whether to dispose the alerts as true or false match. Based on that, further business decisions are taken. So what is the objective of the course? To reduce the time taken in step 3 and 4 by at least 60%. Basically to reduce the time taken to decide whether this alert is true or false alert. Next factor here is the user experience design. So user will be interacting using a GUI based suggestions here. So how do we ensure there's a user have a good experience, right? So we have a user input section we are planning to put there in a feedback loop. So in every screen, a feedback link will be provided to the user. They can provide more info about the how what they think the moral decision is, whether it's a correct decision, bad decision, or why do they think it's a bad decision. So based on this feedbacks, right, when we collect the data and we try to re-update our model will start getting mature. Right? Correct. So it provide better user experience at the end. End goal is to provide the right kind of prediction to the user. So transparency of the model. So for every ML prediction, we are going to provide an explanation why this alert has been tagged as false or true by the AI system. So that will give more confidence to the user as well. What about communicating uncertainty? So probability of every AI model decision will be also communicated to the users. So by telling whether it is like 95% accurate or not, even if it is less than 95%, we'll be telling them. Suppose the name which might not be seeing as right, but still as a false alert, but still say it's a false alert. So AI will give the probability. Suppose it is 40% probability that it is a false alert. That way the ops team will also know, right? It's not really a very high probability. They should do more research around it. So, and it will give more confidence in the model if model is communicating very clearly whatever is uncertain. Okay. The privacy consideration. So privacy is a global bank. So the privacy consideration like those of US or EU, etc., are already implemented within the banking system. But in this application also we have to take care of us in the our ML model, right? So since this is an internal application, data is pre-classified as internal or PI or public. So for every feedback given by the user, it will be that is one new data which will be collecting, the user feedback. So every feedback given by the user, it will be saved along with the names and employee ID, as team might reach out to them to understand better why they are saying so and train the model accordingly. So this will be informed to the user as well in advance, okay, with a note on the feedback page, how the data will be captured and what is the purpose it will be used for. And it is going to be utilized only for that purpose. So for our app, the kind of data privacy laws is like US data privacy law, then EU GDPR law are mainly applicable, even since the bank is across the globe. So for every local list or local country's sanction program, we will have to also comply with the local regional data privacy laws as applicable. The last is the ethical consideration. So here we're trying to identify the possible sources of bias. One key source of bias which I can think of is initial set of data which we are going to collect, right? Maybe user might just, let's say they will only take the NAM data. But what about the data of EU? What about the data of APAC? If you're not collecting of the different geographical regions or different kind of customer bases, it will create uncertainty and kind of bias in the system, which will not give a proper results when we actually go live with the system. Our AML model will fail. So let's see how we can address all the ethical concerns here on the three factors, basically the fairness. So we can mitigate the risk of bias by creating data set, okay, for creation of the data. So we can here mention what are the common practices we have to follow, what are the regions we have to cover. The wide kind of diverse sources will help us collect that data. So this will help us ensure fairness of the data model collection, okay. Then second factor is accountability. So here the engineering and business stakeholder team will be responsible for the system performance. Business stakeholders will define what laws the system needs to adhere to. In case system is not behaving accordance of expectation, they will have option to reach out via feedback options in GUI. Okay, because as an ops team, if I want to give some feedback, I can obviously give that feedback and it will be reached out to the engineering and the business stakeholders. And based on that, we can take a call on that. Transparency, as I mentioned earlier, also system will provide the explanation for each of the predictions. So that way, why this particular prediction is true match or false match, what are the different considerations the model has taken, that will help the ops team to dispose of the alerts faster. And that's all about my model. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.